Hello, Dan Mizzi-Harris here, product designer in Design System, looking at action design tokens in regards to color and their semantic set. This follows on from a series back and forth with Scott, trying to reduce the previous set to a smaller number of more generic design tokens for actions. One of the final things to work through is selected actions. How should they be differentiated from not selected actions, and so on. So some requirements here that Jeremy pulled together for the dark mode exploration, but today this only looks at light mode and applying it to the current experience. Actions have three parts, three colors that make them up: a foreground, a background, and a border color. So I think it would be quite good for our selected actions to have these limits as well. You can see here's my proposal for it. The selected foreground color match the not selected, the border to be a blue 600. I've chosen this opposed to 500, which we have seen in the past, because this 600 gives us a 3:1 contrast ratio versus a default button border. So it'll allow us to make it more, this selected be more visible and available to more people by hitting this contrast ratio and a background color of blue 50. This is not 100% new. Here's how it appears on the emoji picker today. With the original had a blue 500 border. This is blue 600, and we're also using a border width. So if we, before we jump any further, here's how it looked. Selected buttons looked previously. Not a huge amount separating them. And it didn't work in all of the places. So let's have a look at how this could look for our button groups. I think it's pretty successful. Makes sense for things that are actions and button-like, but not buttons themselves. I think this could work as well, and even in a future state where some of these borders were taken away, this I think would still be appropriate. Tabs are not buttons but are actions. This additional background color I feel okay with. The border color then not being applied to all of the edges but just the bottom edge like we've got today. I feel pretty comfortable with how this looks. For then some action like controls, so this is the optiony touch stuff that was part of the requirements. The selected day in a date picker, the selected item in a list box or drop down list. I feel pretty comfortable with these. They retain a relationship, and even if they're not the exact best for everyone, I think that keeping them together in a system and having a shared relationship works pretty well. There are some potential challenges you might be seeing already. Competition with confirm buttons. I've made a fake mock-up here but to show how they become a little bit closer to confirm buttons and how that might compete in the UI. Today, I think this is probably okay, but it's something we should keep an eye on. And perhaps the most extreme in these examples is a competition with a focus state. How do we differentiate what's focused and what's selected? I think we can do so by having our focuses be offset. So in the pagination example, I think it will be clear for users which one's which, and as they tab around, move around. But for these, this is the current focus state, very close to selected. We do have the check, but I'm not sure that's enough. So we could move to a like an outer focus rather than an inset one, for all of them, or even just for the ones that are selected. I think this should provide enough distinction. So let me know what you think, any thoughts, feedback. We'd still need some colors for the different states, for hover, focus, active, stuff like that. I'm hoping that this is scalable enough as a generic design token set to meet what we need for light mode. And once dark mode's figured out, see if that can still work. Yeah, there are some visual changes. I think they're all acceptable, but I'd love to hear your thoughts so we can move forward with this as soon as possible. Thanks.